Hey, Joe, I just sent you another video with Ron DeSantis, okay?
All right. So my camera is not signed in, and for some reason it won't sign in. So
It won't sign in.
I don't know. I don't know if I'm entering the password wrong or something. I'm gonna keep trying. But
All right, well, then I won't ask for you to talk. My
I'm
bad.
sorry.
No, it's all good. Just, I won't ask for you to talk. It's all good. Hey, good morning, Ben. Appreciate everybody being here today. Thanks for jumping in on the show. I've got you a new chair, Joe. I'll go get it from Ben. Thanks, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hey, Joe, good morning. Cindy, Tanya, Kimberly, good morning to everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Glad you're with us. Hey, guys, welcome into the show. We appreciate it today. So much going on. Hey, guys, hope you had a really good weekend. Get ready to start the show before the show, or we are on it. Canceltheshow.com here right now. We were planning on going to Jeff City today for all the festivities, but I talked myself out of it. Just too cold. It is cold, Cindy. And I know you care, and I know you're a patriot. Good morning, patriots, according to Joe. Today is the inauguration in the state of Missouri. We broadcast live out of the state of Missouri. It is that time of year for all states around the country to go ahead and do that. Inauguration activities taking place, and it really is. I mean, when you're in the teens, and I think it's the teens for highs, it's tough day to be outside for a long time. But don't worry about it, Cindy. You certainly always do your part. And we appreciate you guys spreading the word about us and what we do here. I'm grateful for that. Thank you. Thanks for jumping in, everybody. Oh my gosh, wind chill 1 degree from where we're broadcasting live today. I know we have people listening from all over the country. And remember, you can catch us obviously on Facebook. You can watch us live on Rumble. X, we're there. We'll get back on taking a look at some of those TikTok things, and we'll see what happens. They're still trying to figure out what's going on with TikTok, if they're going to be around or not. I just have a feeling somebody's going to buy them. Somebody, something, somehow, some way. I don't know. I just couldn't imagine a life without TikTok. It just seems like it makes too much money for it not to be here. But we appreciate you guys, of course, being here today, letting us know. If you have story ideas, jump in on the chat line. We appreciate it when you do that as well. Cold days, DC on January 20th. We'll be watching it, according to Tanya. Yep, we all will. It's coming up. I was listening on news this morning. I think it was Fox. There's a 5-hour time window to move the Bidens out and move the Trumps in. Bizarre. 5 hours. They literally have 5 hours. I'm a former mover. I've done a lot of moves in my life. 5 hours, not a lot of time to get done with that. I can only imagine how many movers are working at one time to make that happen. Todd says the Buccaneers got taken out by Washington. Yes, they did. Good luck to Detroit. Washington could be one of those teams. We'll see what happens. I know you have to be careful what you wish for. But as a hardcore Detroit Lions fan, I was happy to see Washington. I did not want to see the Rams again. Already beat them once this year. Did not want to see the Vikings again. We'd already beaten them twice this year. The buyer wannabe. Oh, it was on Mark Levin last night for TikTok. Yeah, we'll see where all that goes. That's for sure. Appreciate everybody jumping in on the show as we get ready to rock and roll today. All right, Joe, let's go ahead and start the show, buddy. Are you looking to elevate your brand's presence? Partner with Cancel This Show with myself, Vic Faust, and my co-host,
Megan Marie. We're ranked in the top 10% globally.
Our show has reached over 1.68 million engaged listeners, and we continue to grow monthly.
Podcasting is one of the best ways to advertise
because it offers a highly engaged audience, SEO targeted reach,
and the ability to build a personal connection with listeners.
Dive into the dynamic world of cancel culture, politics, all current events, and the latest news with us.
It's the American taxpayers that are having to pay for all of this monkey business left and right.
Look at all of these pictures. They are using AI to generate fake photos, and we show you them. And Joe will show, we got a video of one, we've got certain pictures.
They were hiding the fact and trying to lie to the American people for months that Joe Biden was doing well.
This is Kamala. This is Joe Biden. It's Barack Obama. It's Jake Sullivan, all together doing anything and everything they can to strike back at Donald Trump because he continues to kick their ass.
If that doesn't make you mad enough to vote one way or another in this election, nothing will do it.
Get your company's voice heard, your brand recognized,
and the exposure you deserve.
Does your brand align with our mission?
Let's talk and make an impact together. Hey guys, welcome to cancelthisshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, Pro Joe running the boards, making sure we look and sound as good as we always do. All right, it is Monday. It is January 13th, and we're grateful that you're with us today. Inauguration Day in the state of Missouri, the inauguration day for this country, and Donald Trump next week. Can't wait for that. T-minus 1 week before we get Donald Trump back in office, even though he's already doing the job now. Appreciate everybody jumping in. As always, you can watch us on Facebook, on YouTube, on Rumble, and of course on X. Let people know, like, subscribe, share the show. We're grateful for it. You can check out the website, cancelthisshow.com. If you want to donate to what we do, we're grateful for that. Anything helps keep us going. Cancelthisshow.com. You go to menu and you click on donate. Once again, anything happens. Greg, he helps us out with the show. He asked me to give a shout out. And Greg, just for you, I'll do it this one time. Greg had a surgery last week and some people took care of him, really helped him out. So he wanted me to go ahead and give a shout out to the Christian Hospital Pain Management Center. They took care of him last week. Dr. Boer's team, Beurers, Phil Dudek, Dr. Phil, Jennifer, Linda, Tori, just to name a few at the doctor's office. He said they would love it, and we appreciate it when you guys have Cancel the Show on. And, of course, let everybody know about what we're doing. So there's your shout-out, Greg. We're glad that you're feeling better and you had to take care of that business. No fun going in. Karen says, good morning. Of course, you can jump in on the People's Podcast platform. We're grateful for the interaction that you give us and that this show has. Okay, coming up on the show today, we got quite a bit of things to get to. Of course, Mondays usually plan out this way. Never really enough time to get to everything, but of course we will do our best. Former FBI Director Christopher Wray, he says that there are sleeper cells, Chinese sleeper cells sitting in America. Thanks, Chris. We appreciate it. As he does an interview with 60 Minutes explaining why he's leaving early. Of course, Trump wants him out. That's why he's gone. We're talking about the wildfires, California, 24 people deceased now. I don't know, at least a dozen missing. We could see those numbers go up more. We'll hear from a fire arborist, forensic fire arborist, explaining what he sees and comparisons between Maui and Santa Ana. All right, I'm not trying to stir the pot. We're not trying to dive down the deep dip, but it's interesting when you hear experts talk about what they see, what they hear, what they smell, and the things that are happening. Donald Trump talking more about how he's going to take out the deep state. My gosh, I hope he does. Of course, we're looking forward to that. At the end of last week, it was a news dump day, of course. Rogan's been doing a lot of big interviews recently. Did one with Zuckerberg at the end of last week, and we can never forget what the Biden administration did with Zuckerberg and Facebook. Do you believe it? Is Zuckerberg just trying to save his ass, or was he forced to do things? I believe him. And he's trying to save his ass, and now he's trying to be honest about things when he wasn't honest back then. But when you're making a lot of money, you like to make a lot of money. When the government tells you to do something, you do it. And that's what he did. So we'll get into that. We have some other issues coming up when it comes to Gavin Newsom and the fire. I mean, those fires really kind of push everything out. But Joe Biden is almost out. Thank God he is almost out. But on Friday, he's so lost. Joe, if you want to run the Joe Biden sound, Joe Biden he is so freaking lost. The worst president in the history of this country, the worst time we have ever seen. And of course, he's still saying that if he would have ran for president, last week he said he wouldn't have been able to make it through a full term. He literally admitted it. Now he's saying he would have beat Trump if he would have ran.
Become your successor?
I don't think so. I think I would have beaten Trump, could have beaten Trump, and I think that Kamala could have beaten Trump, would have beaten Trump. It wasn't about, I thought it was important to unify the party. And when the party was worried about whether or not I was going to be able to move, I thought even though I thought I could win again, I thought it was better to unify the party. And it was the greatest honor in my life to be President of the United States, but I didn't want to be one who caused a party that wasn't unified to lose an election.
Okay.
And that's why
Joe Biden. He said he thought Kamala could have beat Trump, didn't he? She had her chance.
Yeah.
She lost. She got her ass whipped, just like you would have, Joe. But once again, right up to the point of him leaving, he continues to give us gold as we remember what this guy was all about. The worst time in our American history to have a president who is that bad. And of course, the entire department that he had in place when he was there. Never let us forget those things that are going on. State of Missouri has where we broadcast out of. They have their inaugurations today. Very cold day. Inaugurations going on around the country. So congratulations to all those who were elected. We'll be talking with them in coming weeks and throughout the year, that's for sure. And of course, the new governor, Mike Kehoe, taking over for Governor Parson. So congrats to Governor Parson on a job well done. And now we hope and pray that Mike Kehoe does the job in the state of Missouri. That's for sure. Kevin says he doesn't even realize, Biden that is, that Scamala lost to Uncle Trump. He probably doesn't. Greg says, by the way, thanks for the shout out to the doctor's office. They are big Cancel This fans, and we appreciate you guys for letting us be on your airwaves. That's for sure. Big story over the weekend, obviously, is it still continued, the fire situation in California. It makes me sick to my stomach. You've still got at least four fires raging. 45 to 75 mile an hour per wind's expected for tomorrow into Wednesday. Firefighters and fire management teams are afraid, and with good reason, that the fires could continue to push forward, increase, get to more places. Only at about 13% contained, 24 people deceased at this point in time, and at least another 12 missing at this point in time. And of course, people's lives uprooted because of the whole situation that has happened. It's sickening to see everything that is going on there, especially when you see Gavin Newsom saying and doing what he's doing. He's talking about a Marshall Plan now. This kind of stuff was talked about in Maui. Is he really talking about people going in and buying out this property now? I'm just telling you, I'm not trying to go down the deep dive, but listen to Gavin Newsom talk here. And he just strikes me as this guy that's kind of weaselly. He's always talking and he got his hands here and he's like, look over here. And he's doing all that. It's like, just give us a straight answer. Look at a reporter. And he's just like, yeah. You can tell a lot with nonverbals with people as well. Just listen to him. No accountability. He's still blaming local law enforcement or blaming local officials for everything that's going on, refusing to resign and acting like he's done a great job for the state. And by the way, in the midst of all of this, he and California, they have put aside, it's between $25 and $50 million to go after the Trump administration when Trump comes to try to deal with illegals. I mean, they're worried about illegals more so than they are about these fires. And keep in mind, this is the same man that took $100 million out of the fire budget for the state of California and gave that money to, guess who? Healthcare for illegals. And now he doesn't know how to manage a fire. And this guy, and now he has liberals calling him out. He's running scared. Just listen to how weaselly he is, talking about a Marshall Plan 2.0.
Over the course of the next several years, Los Angeles will be host to the World Cup and then the Super Bowl and then the Olympics. With this rebuilding effort needing to take place, is LA going to be ready for all of those global events?
My humble position, and it's not just being naively optimistic, that only reinforces the imperative moving quickly, doing in the spirit of collaboration and cooperation. President of the United States, Donald Trump, to his credit, was helpful in getting the Olympics to the United States of America, to get it down here in LA. We thank him for that. This is an opportunity for him to shine, for this country to shine, for California and this community to shine. The opportunity with all of that and all that opportunity and that pride and spirit that comes from not just hosting those three iconic games and venues, but also the opportunity, I think, to rebuild at the same time. And that's why we're already organizing a Marshall Plan. We already have a team looking and reimagining LA 2.0, and we're making sure everyone's included, not just the folks on the coast, people here that were ravaged by this disaster.
You just said you're organizing a Marshall Plan for the rebuilding of California. What is that Marshall Plan?
For
Tell
this
us about this
region,
Marshall
we're just
Plan.
starting to lay out. I mean, we're still fighting these fires. So we're already talking to city leaders. We're already talking to civic leaders. We're already talking to business leaders and nonprofits. We're talking to labor leaders. We're starting to organize how we can put together a collection of individuals on philanthropy for recovery, how we can organize the region, how we can make sure that we are seeking federal assistance for the Olympics more broadly, but also federal assistance for the recovery efforts, and how we can galvanize the community with folks that love this community to really develop a mindset so that at scale we're dealing with the scope of this tragedy and responding to it at scale with efficiency, like the executive order I talked about, time value of delivering projects, addressing building codes, addressing permitting issues, and moving forward to rebuilding and being more resilient.
Okay. Oh my God, I want to throw up. It did, and this, and that. I'm going to tell you, I used to teach speakers. I taught doctors and attorneys how to do public speaking. And when people start doing all of these things and smacking their hands and doing this, they're not focused on their message. They're trying to lead you in another place. When you're doing this, there is a point and a time to use your hands to make a point, you know. But when you're doing this and this and this, the guy is literally scared. He's a liar. He's running for the hills. He has absolutely no idea what he's doing. And at the same point in time, he's responsible for what's happening in California. So dramatic. And maybe it's the Los Angeles thing in California, but oh my God, this guy, and talking about a Marshall Plan 2.0, and the Olympics are supposed to come to LA. I agree with a lot of sentiment that I've heard from Republican politicians talking over the last few days. Move it. Move the Olympics. Give it to another city. I think Will Kane said, what about Dallas or Miami? Cities that can actually handle this. I mean, we've literally got the Olympics coming to LA. They don't know how to put water in a fire hydrant. They're lost. They can't put, they're talking about new cities, smart cities. Yep, I saw it in the chat line. Sorry, I missed it. Kimberly says he knows it too, Vic. May have to borrow money from Ukraine. Yeah, he's slimy. Yeah, these are all comments from the chat line. And then a Marshall Plan 2.0, really? What the hell? All about smart cities, keeping people within 15 minutes of each other, 15 miles, no transportation. Are they going to give everybody out there $750 check? Yeah, that's not going to happen. And then people still trying to figure out how they're going to rebuild their lives. And you got this guy out there doing this. He's refusing to retire. He's refusing to resign. Tucker Carlson decided to call him out over the weekend too. I love this from Tucker. A little bit longer. We'll keep on it maybe for a minute or two to talk about how this guy is how he is. And Tucker knows him. Tucker knows him. Yet this guy in the midst of the fires is trying to build a defense to go after Trump when they come to take illegals away. That's what he's worried about, not California. Thank you, Tucker, for calling Gavin Newsom out here.
Gavin Newsom, and I think a lot about Gavin Newsom, many different things about Gavin Newsom, but one thing I know for a fact about Gavin Newsom is he has the capacity to beat a lie detector test. Gavin Newsom will say anything he needs to say, and not like Biden's not like this actually, whatever Biden's fault, he's not like this. Like Biden would, he has like guilt. If he's lying to you, he gets twitchy. Gavin Newsom's palms don't sweat. His respiration doesn't increase. His body temperature doesn't change. Nothing changes in Gavin Newsom when he lies to your face. And there are not that many people like that, actually. That's a rare quality. Like to lock down the state, to keep people's kids from getting an education, and to arrest people for surfing, and then go have dinner at the French Laundry. Like most people couldn't do that. They'd just be like,
You're saying he's a sociopath. He can lie and not care.
I'm not a psychiatrist, but I don't really know the category, and I'm not going to diagnose him, but I'll just say in 50 years of being around a lot of people, I've met very few who can behave that way. Very, very few. It's a very unusual quality, and of course it's probably useful in politics.
Is he electable? Yeah, exactly. Are the American people going to see that the way that you see it, or?
Well, as you know, the system in California does not include elections. I mean, it has nothing to do with what the people think. It's a machine state. It's the most corrupt out of 50. Kamala Harris was like despised by most Californians, and she, was a sitting U.S. senator. Poor Dianne Feinstein, my neighbor in Washington. I don't think she was a horrible person, just for the record, but she was non compos mentis, and like she could have lived well beyond her death as a U.S. senator. So it's like, it's not a democratic state, small d democratic state. It's not run on the basis of what the population wants. It's a fixed game in California. And so it does make me very uncomfortable that someone from that political culture, which is an utterly corrupt political culture, an authoritarian political culture, could like enter a presidential race. Cause like, clearly, what are you running on if you're Gavin Newsom? As a native Californian, I know what the state was like in 1985 because I lived there, and it's completely degraded from that time. And like, how did that happen? Well, part of the big reason is the political leadership in the state. You've got nothing to run.
Yeah, thank you, Tucker. We appreciate you very, 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 very much for calling out Gavin Newsom and what is happening in California, because, a lot of us know people live there. My family lives there. And when you see a man do what he has done to this state, and his political career is over. There's no way he wins another election. I'll go on record now. No effing way that man wins another election. And I think he knows it, and he's scared shitless about it because he liked that. He loved being recognized. He loved the scene. He loved having those dinners that Tucker talked about. And then, of course, here we are. No water in the fire hydrants, and you're taking money from the fire department and giving it for illegal health care. Welcome to California and Gavin Newsom. There's always hope for California. And then, of course, we talked about it last week, illegals looting. Then you have video of illegals with fire pack starters. And then there's all these rumors illegals were in there. They were starting fires. There's no proof of it, but there's video of these things. And then you hear the press conferences, people talking about illegals going in and doing what they're doing right now. Once again, illegals.
But when I was out there in the Malibu area, I saw a gentleman that looked like a firefighter, and I asked him if he was okay because he was sitting down. I didn't realize we had him in handcuffs. We were turning him over to LAPD because he was dressed like a fireman, and he was not. He just got caught burglarizing a home.
Yeah, these things are happening. You're seeing all kinds of sad stuff in California. If you're just joining the show, this is canceltheshow.com. I'm Vic Faust, here Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, about 9 to 10. Vic from the chat line, you seriously underestimate the stupidity of the left to continue to do what they do best. Maybe. I know a lot of people in California can't wait for some of the people to go. Karen Bass, the LA mayor as well. Tanya, I see what you're writing about that. Gavin Newsom, the governor, and so forth. People we just feel for the people who are out there because the fire continues to go on. And then, of course, 45 to 75 mile an hour winds expected tomorrow into Wednesday, which isn't going to make anything easier. That's for sure. More and more homes and structures are being torn apart, and you're talking about over 2 years to rebuild. A large portion of the California budget, according to Glenn, goes to fund Gavin's hair gel. Yeah, maybe. Well, I need it to do this and to do that. Maybe this was all predicted. The Simpsons, episode 12, or season 12, episode 18. Guess what? There was a fireworks problem that Bart started, and what do you know? It was another episode that predicted what was happening in California. Check it out.
Titled Little Big Girl, Springfield faces a devastating wildfire that threatens the town and its residents. Bart, in one of his pranks, ends up causing a fire that quickly spirals out of control, highlighting the vulnerability of communities in the face of natural disasters. The scenes in this episode are eerily similar to recent events. Wildfires spreading across various regions, property destruction, and the relentless efforts of firefighters to contain the flames. Coincidence, or yet another unsettling prediction? The Simpsons have always kept us on alert, but this time, the message is clear and frightening. Whether they're right or not, the question remains: how far could these disasters go? What else might the Yellow family on TV have foreseen about our future? Keep an eye on the prophecies.
Interesting. That's what can happen. We'll see where that goes tomorrow. If there's any more interesting ideas that come up when it happens with The Simpsons. Very, very interesting for what we see. Okay, we talked a little bit about this on Thursday. Eric and I did. I'm still not sold that something wasn't set on fire somewhere for some sort of something. I'm just not there yet. I don't want there to be a conspiracy theory. I hope this happened naturally. But it is interesting. I see places where the trees were burned down, and then I see other places where they weren't. Thank God a Virgin Mary statue was not, and crosses not burned. There's several of those instances. You see them all over the internet. Yeah, Greg says Simpsons also predicted the bird and cat flu that we had back in 2010. Yeah. Insurance rates are skyrocketing for those who can even get them as well in California. Cindy says, I agree. I'm sure there was some sort of arson somewhere. And Trish says, now they're talking about the Edison company maybe starting the fire in Hearst. Anything is freaking possible right now. Anything. And I just, in some of the research, I came across this fire arborist. He's a fire forensic arborist who studies fires, and he was in Maui, and he's comparing what happened here in the Santa Ana area as well. Just listen to what he has to say.
I've been to 38 fire aftermaths and taken 107 trips to all of them, collecting evidence at every site. I saw this picture of Santa Rosa, California, the Jack in the Box, McDonald's, and a gas station. But what I see is the trees. All of them did not burn. And how did a fire cross a freeway? This is in Maui now. Nothing, I mean nothing added up. This is the same stuff exactly that I've seen in California. Here, a home's on fire and nothing else. And I believe that's because of all the metals, whether they're ferrous or non-ferrous, that are in a house. Many of the top fire people know exactly what's going on. When you don't see the forest burn, but yet houses are, and some of these materials don't burn, I believe most of these fires are microwave based. The cars, they all look like this. Now the auto glass melts approximately at 2,500 degrees. Forest fires don't get that hot. Forest fire goes up to 1,400. You're not getting above those temperatures.
Okay. That it's just another perspective when you start to look at video. And I started to over the weekend, and I did see places where areas are burned down, but there are some trees that are still standing. I'm like, how does that even happen? It doesn't make sense. Trish also says they are saying the vegetation is very telling about the fires. Wow. Interesting. Also, a side note, Lori says, look up Allie Carter. She said, wait for the fires. She was pimped by Diddy. Interesting. Not quite sure what that means. If you want to expand more on that, please do. Please do. Robert says the arborist, the fire forensic arborist seems very credible. And Karen says exactly. There are many people who are saying this. Many people are saying this. Yeah. Hello. We appreciate it. Donna says hello to Vic. Hello to Pro Joe. Happy Monday, and happy Monday to everybody there as well. I just look at everything that's going on with that fire, and we're going to continue to, we'll cover it and continue to keep people up to date on what we see, what's going on. And as bad as that is, and as much as it can be a distraction, we'll see where all this goes, especially with the Trump team coming in next Monday. In the midst of all of this, in the midst of what's happening in California, it does take our attention off some other things that are going on. But we talk about being concerned in this country for safety. After October 7th happened in Israel, former FBI Director Christopher Wray came out and said, yeah, something like that could happen in the United States. And we're like, what? How could this even happen? How could you even say this? And then, of course, we know what happened for a few years. All the illegals coming in. Some people with no bad intentions, but others with bad intentions to harm the United States. And I'll get to that in a second. Glenn says the high-speed rail system plans have the same footprint as the fires. You can look that up. They do. I've looked at those high-speed rail systems, and they go right through California. They really do. Lori says Allie Carter is in hiding because of her knowledge of Diddy. On one of her videos about 2 months ago, she says, wait for the fires to start. talking about California, I'm assuming. You could think that would be that way, or maybe she's talking about other things that would come. I don't know if that was Joe or somebody else. Maybe it was Projo or somebody else last week who said, yeah, maybe their fires are burning in places to take care of evidence. I think that, yeah, Joe, what?
Well, and I think the looters that were coming in there, they weren't just looting; they were looking for safes.
You might
and
have a
stuff
point,
that
Joe.
might have videotapes in them.
You might have a point, my friend. Yeah, Tanya, it pissed everybody off that the fire hydrants were not filled. Donna says perhaps she meant retaliation for some kind of behavior. Yeah, of course it could be that. But now, and then let me get this in too before we get Showtime has an 1.5-hour show called American Selfie. One Nation Shooter Itself. Alexandra Pelosi captures a snapshot of America as the country faces a pandemic, a presidential election, and a costly financial collapse. Oh, wonderful. Yeah, Trish, great point. And North Carolina is still hurting from Helene. It just didn't all of a sudden get better there. So gosh, you guys are so damn good. I love the show. Lori says all the tunnels under LA. And that's legit. There are tunnels under LA connecting from houses to houses, specifically very popular mansions and people who have lived there. Hollywood elite, all the tunnels under LA and the child trafficking. Allie Carter knows everything about Diddy and his crimes. Very interesting, Lori. Thank you for letting me know about that. Especially, it seems like a subject that you know very well, so that we need to keep track of. Chris Wray, the FBI director, says that now he did an exit interview with 60 Minutes yesterday. He's leaving, says he's leaving 7 years into a 10-year term because Trump wants him out and he needs to go. I mean, freaking A. Christopher Wray is the one who executed the search warrant on Mar-a-Lago, and just a despicable display against a former president who was going to be a new president again, and because he was the adversary of Joe Biden. Well, Christopher Wray, who said, oh yeah, you need to keep your head on a, quote, swivel, because what happened in Israel could happen in America, is now saying this about Chinese sleeper cells in America. Listen up.
China's cyber program is by far and away the world's largest, bigger than that of every major nation combined, and has stolen more of Americans' personal and corporate data than that of every nation, big or small, combined. But even beyond the cyber theft, there's another part of the Chinese cyber threat that I think has not gotten the attention publicly that it, I think, desperately deserves, and that is Chinese government's pre-positioning on American civilian critical infrastructure to lie in wait on those networks, to be in a position to wreak havoc and can inflict real-world harm at a time and place of their choosing.
The Chinese have already insinuated malware into critical American infrastructure.
That's correct.
Like what?
Things like water treatment plants. We're talking about transportation systems. We're talking about targeting of our energy sector, the electric grid, natural gas pipelines. And recently, we've seen targeting of our telecommunications system.
Oh, happy, joy. So great that all this stuff is here now. And Director Wray, former Director Wray, you're getting out of town and this happened under your watch. I don't care if you were appointed by Donald Trump during his first term. You didn't do the job and you allowed these things to happen, and you're as corrupt as anybody if you don't take responsibility for these things that have happened. That is a big time scare. And if we don't think that people came in through our borders over the last 3 years, 4 years, under weak guidelines put forth by Biden and Harris and their administration, think again. This is some scary, scary stuff. And if you talk to Chinese people, as I have a friend, they tell you what's happening with communist China and how they're trying to take down this country. We saw with the balloon that was allowed to just float all across the country from the West Coast to the East Coast. And then once it got its information, then was taken down once it got to the ocean. Taking down our water systems, our electrical grid system. I know it sounds like, oh my God, you guys are crazy. I'm just telling you, these are things that can happen. You want to talk about terrorist attacks here? We saw what happened in New Orleans. We'll see what it was or what happened, possibly happened at the Trump Tower in Vegas. But you want to talk about taking our grid system down? We talked about that and showed you what could happen in America. How about the water systems? Which is another reason why we're at centuryh2o.com and we partner with them. This is another reason why the borders have to be locked up ASAP. Glenn says, you can bet that Christopher Wray will be investigated by Kash Patel when he comes in, the new FBI director, amongst a lot of other people who will face the music, finally, so to speak. And they're all running for the hills as well. Dr. Fauci and everything that has happened from that standpoint and everything that happened on his watch. But there's so much bad that has happened to this country, so much dirty. The deep state is here. They're still alive. They may not be alive and well right now, but they're alive and they're kicking. And we don't ever forget that these are the same people that tried to take out Donald Trump, and we know all about that. Trump's coming back into office. Our attention's on the wildfires now, but there's a lot of things that are happening. The theater is going to begin tomorrow because appointments start to get interviewed by Congress. And of course, our attention will go to that with Pete Hegseth and everything that goes with him. Of course, he's never been charged for anything, never charged with anything, just accusations, never charged with any crimes. Yet people want to go after him. From the chat line, who needs to worry about nuclear weapons? It's going to be attacks from the inside. Infrastructure attacks would be more thorough. They're right. They would be. Those attacks on our grid and our water system would be absolutely insane. Hundreds, if not thousands of pardons coming January 19th. I'm not sure if you mean the J6ers, or do you mean more that Biden is planning on doing, or at least his administration? Because we showed you a soundbite earlier. Biden has no idea where he is, saying that he and Kamala could beat Donald Trump in an election. Then he said he didn't know if he could make it through another term, which is why he was in and out. Donald Trump can't get to office soon enough. He just can't. Okay. The deep state is alive and well, but because of the distractions come, if there is one thing that this country needs, we talked about sealing up the border, but then you've got to clean up the cockroaches. You got to turn the light on and do whatever it is you do. The Trump raid, whatever. They've got to go, because these are the people that are ruining the country and the serious issues that are happening and putting people in positions of power to continue to try to take down America, whether they are corrupted by money or something else. Here's Donald Trump speaking about a plan. It's a little bit of a longer plan, but it's so damn good. 9-10-step plan to uproot the deep state. And now you've got national news networks talking about, what is the deep state? How do we take care of it? Because there are literally reporters at mainstream media places that are just clueless. Some of the time they do it on purpose, but most of the time they're just clueless because they didn't want to educate themselves as you guys are educated when it comes to these things. Ray will get his pardon for future crimes discovered, according to Paul. From Biden, yeah, could happen. Jeannie says Biden was in LA when the fire started. He probably made the call. Yeah, you never know. You never know. But here's Trump talking about how he's going to eliminate this deep state, because this deep state is all part of why the border was open, why Biden was in office, why the pardons are coming, why the things are happening in America, and why there are sleeper freaking cells of Chinese people who are sitting here waiting to, quote, wreak havoc on our American society. But Donald Trump to the rescue. Sorry, Joe.
Plan to dismantle the deep state and reclaim our democracy from Washington corruption once and for all, and corruption it is. First, I will immediately reissue my 2020 executive order restoring the president's authority to remove rogue bureaucrats, and I will wield that power very aggressively. Second, we will clean out all of the corrupt actors in our national security and intelligence apparatus, and there are plenty of them. The departments and agencies that have been weaponized will be completely overhauled so that faceless bureaucrats will never again be able to target and persecute conservatives, Christians, or the left's political enemies, which they're doing now at a level that nobody can believe even possible. Third, we will totally reform FISA courts, which are so corrupt that the judges seemingly do not care when they are lied to in warrant applications. So many judges have seen so many applications that they know were wrong, or at least they must have known. They do nothing about it. They're lied to. Fourth, to expose the hoaxes and abuses of power that have been tearing our country apart, we will establish a Truth and Reconciliation Commission to declassify and publish all documents on deep state spying, censorship, and corruption. And there are plenty of them. Fifth, we will launch a major crackdown on government leakers who collude with the fake news to deliberately weave false narratives and to subvert our government and our democracy. When possible, we will press criminal charges. Sixth, we will make every Inspector General's office independent and physically separated from the departments they oversee so they do not become the protectors of the deep state. Seventh, I will ask Congress to establish an independent auditing system to continually monitor our intelligence agencies to ensure they are not spying on our citizens or running disinformation campaigns against the American people, or that they are not spying on someone's campaign like they spied on my campaign. Eighth, we will continue the effort launched by the Trump administration to move parts of the sprawling federal bureaucracy to new locations outside the Washington swamp. Just as I moved the Bureau of Land Management to Colorado, as many as 100,000 government positions could be moved out, and I mean immediately, of Washington to places filled with patriots who love America, and they really do love America. Ninth, I will work to ban federal bureaucrats from taking jobs at the companies they deal with and that they regulate. So they deal with these companies and they regulate these companies, and then they want to take jobs from these companies. It doesn't work that way. Such a public display cannot go on, and it's taking place all the time, like with Big Pharma. Finally, I will push a constitutional amendment to impose term limits on members of Congress. This is how I will shatter the deep state and restore government that is controlled by the people and for the people. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you, Mr. President. We appreciate that. You want to talk about detailed plans, a vision for America, putting America first, trying to take out anything and everything that is screwing up this country. This is God ordained, because this just doesn't happen by chance. To have a politician by name, but we know he's not a politician, which is why things are getting done. That gets me excited. That gets my blood boiling. That gets my blood pumping, because we have something now in America that is fighting for America once again to make things better for us. And when you think about what could happen if these actors are not removed, my gosh, and who knows? I mean, it makes me think about those forces aren't just going to roll over for Donald Trump, right? They're not just going to say, okay, you guys win. We're going to pack up our bags and go home. No. They're going to fight hard. They're going to find something. They're going to come after something. I'm not sure anything will happen at inauguration. Boy, I pray that nothing happens. But he has a lot of public events from Friday night, Saturday, or Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday next week. But Dan Bongino, he's worried. He's worried about drone attacks. And even though I'm not there yet, I respect Dan and I respect his podcast and I respect his knowledge and his past. And when it comes to this, but it is interesting to hear him talk a little bit about this situation. Here's Dan talking about safety when it comes to Inauguration Day for Donald Trump.
This is going to happen. It is, whether it happens in Times Square or someone else, it is going to happen. And there are people in charge who have wasted time on DEI bullshit. They've wasted time targeting Americans with MAGA hats, Moms for Liberty, pro-lifers, targeting the evil white supremacists around every corner. And they have not thought through the threat of a swarm of drones taking out a crowd of people or taking out one of our protectees with an inauguration right around the corner, and Donald Trump not able to do anything about it because he's not in power for 2 more weeks. You think the Secret Service is prepared for this?
Okay. I don't know. Could it be the inauguration? Could it be before? We're a week away. I don't know. I don't know, but I know he knows what he's talking about. You know, we still hear, you know, the drones were a big story. And then we were talking about it. Then what happened? Then the fires started. Then we went from the fires or the drones to the fires. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen. I just pray that everything goes well with the inauguration day. What kind of protection will Trump have? What will he be in that Pope mobile? You know, something like that. Will that happen as well? I don't know. Man, it makes you think and wonder what could happen. Because I don't think the deep state is going to just say, okay, you guys can have at it now and do everything that you want to. These are the same people that attacked all of us in some sort of way over the past 4 years. And we've talked about what they freaking did to us on social media. And whether you believe Mark Zuckerberg or not with Meta, whether you respect him or not, I know most people don't, and they don't trust him. And I know he's coming out, and he did Rogan at the end of last week. But Zuckerberg here did talk, and Joe, we could go ahead and do Zuckerberg first. Zuckerberg did. He admitted what was happening from the Biden administration, deep state people, what would happen to him and his business if he didn't come after all of us patriots and Americans for putting out the truth about what was really going on with COVID and Fauci and all of these things. And when our kids were being treated the way that they were with schools and masks, and we were not allowed to talk about true things as we are now, to promote truth all over social media. Listen to what Zuckerberg had to say what the Biden administration, a la deep state, did to him or threatened him in Meta.
So at the beginning, it kind of seemed like, okay, we should give a little bit of deference to the government and the health authorities on how we should play this. But when it went from, 2 weeks to flatten the curve to, and like in the beginning, it was like, okay, there aren't enough masks. Masks aren't that important. To then it's like, oh no, you have to wear a mask. And, everything was shifting around. It just became very difficult to kind of follow. And this really hit the most extreme, I'd say, during the Biden administration when they were trying to roll out the vaccine program. And I'm generally pretty pro rolling out vaccines. I think on balance, the vaccines are more positive than negative. But I think that while they're trying to push that program, they also tried to censor anyone who was basically arguing against it. And they pushed us super hard to take down things that were true, right? I mean, they basically pushed us and said, anything that says that vaccines might have side effects, you basically need to take down. And I was just like, well, we're not going to do that. We're clearly not going to do that. I mean, that is kind of inarguably true.
Who is they? Who's telling you to take down things that
it was
that talk about vaccine side effects?
It was people in the Biden administration.
I don't think he's innocent. And he's trying to look like KJP.
You might be right. Yeah, he's definitely a Caucasian KJP with the hair. And he's trying to get out of things. Yeah, but this is that's a big deal though, what you say. But I believe him. Now, I believe him that the Biden administration did this. I believe it. Why else would they do it? I guarantee they were threatening him. Guarantee they were threatening him. Because we've heard so many stories of people getting shadow banned. Even to this day, we're hoping that some of that stuff stops. Mandy says, I don't doubt what he says is true. Still don't trust him yet. I believe what he's saying is true. Do I trust him? No, I'm not. From the chat line, I'm positive that cupcake is not good for you. Yeah, probably pure blood here, of course. But everybody had some of these situations that have gone on with Meta and their sites if you were trying to say something. Cindy says, now he's on our side. Not sure I trust him. Gary, who has to go by the name Earrag, YRAG says they should give him his old Facebook account back, and they still won't. That's a great point. That sounds like a lawsuit of some kind. It should be. I don't trust that weasel dick from Paul. He donated a lot of money to the Democratic cause. He did. But then as soon as Trump won, obviously everybody wants to be with a winner. He's been trying to meet with Trump. And I trust Trump now because of after what Trump went through. Now Trump knows how to keep his enemies closer and which ones and how to talk to people and who to believe and who not to believe. I am just grateful that Zuckerberg is out, whether he's trying to save his ass or not, whether he's trying to save Meta or not. I'm grateful that he's telling us what we all knew, confirming what we all knew, that we were being shadow banned, we were being shadow banned, we were being whatever you want to call it, censored right, left. We were not allowed to talk about ivermectin. We couldn't talk about anything. And now we can. And everybody's talking about it. The truth usually comes out. It does. Sometimes it takes time, and then Americans are off to something else. And, oh, okay. You know, in 3 years, we'll find out what happened with the fires in California. And like, oh, yeah, something else is now going on. Jeannie says, yes, now they're having commercials. If you've been Facebook jailed, you may get compensated. Oh, really? Really? Karen says, I don't trust him. He's afraid, and he will say anything to save his butt. But this was all part of deep state activity. From the chat line, Glenn says, why? Why should he be trusted? He screwed over his friend business partner way back in the day and the Winklevoss brothers. Yep. Yeah, he did. There are people who handle business certain ways, and we know how he did it if you watched the movie. I had 2 bosses call me during the vaccine debacle asking me to get the shot. I asked, are you going to fire me because you don't make medical decisions for me? Yeah. Donald Trump's also said that he would re-enlist military members who were kicked out because they refused to get it. Once again, and Gary says, I want to be compensated. I don't blame you one bit. These are things that happened, and thank God it's coming out. And of course, Zuckerberg said that on the Rogan show. And I'm grateful that Joe Rogan has done a lot of these interviews, a lot of these things. Heck, he did one with Mel Gibson over the weekend that went out that at least they put out that's been huge, when Mel Gibson's talking about 3 or 4 of his friends who had the C disease, and we'll just say it that way today, who are now healed because guess why? They're taking ivermectin, they're drinking this blue dye, they're drinking hydroxychloroquine, and guess what? The C disease is leaving their bodies. These are big things. So thank you, Joe Rogan. There's a reason why you're able to get these guests and get the information out there, which is totally kick-ass. And we are grateful that we can share that, especially on podcasts like ours. All of these things are happening in America. And just because the wildfires in California, is horrible that is taking our attention away from things, there's a lot that's still going on in this country, which is why I love the fact that Trump has put together the team that he has put out there. Connie says, let's hand out the ivermectin and get rid of the C disease. Greg says, a presidential rarity. Second term better than first. Go Trump. Yeah, it's certainly setting up for that. But the job is bigger. The job description now for success, the mission statement, so to speak, is so much more grand than it was the first time. But just be grateful that we have the guy in place to take care of this right now. And he's not just thinking domestically, he's thinking all around the world. We showed you last week talking about if our hostages aren't returned, all hell's going to break out in the Middle East. Yeah, he's not just saying stuff. He's getting things done. Zelensky saying, yeah, I'm ready to talk peace. Yeah, all of these things that are happening right now. And he has support. And I hope that we can get governors all around the country, including Mike Kehoe in Missouri, to do what Ron DeSantis is doing and what he said this morning. Ron DeSantis, yeah, okay, he wanted to be president. He wants a name out there, but man, he cares. And he does give a damn. Listen to him this morning, calling a special session to help Donald Trump and his administration take care of illegals in the state of Florida. This is the kind of leadership we need from governors all around America.
Have a responsibility to be in this fight. State and local officials in Florida must help the Trump administration enforce our nation's immigration laws. And we are going to need, in order to do that effectively, we are going to need legislation to impose additional duties on local officials and provide funding for those local officials. There also needs to be measures to hold people accountable who are violating our anti-sanctuary policies. And then Florida needs to make sure that we don't have any lingering incentives for people to come into our state illegally. So therefore, I'm going to call the legislature into special session starting the week of January 27th. We have the next president taking office January 20th. We anticipate executive orders to be issued immediately after the swearing in and the inaugural address. We're going to have some time to process to make sure we're doing what we need to do, but then we need to act, and we need to act quickly. We don't have time to waste. The American people spoke very clearly of all the issues out there, and there were a lot of very important issues. This issue of the border and illegal immigration was one of the top issues in the 2024 election, and has been one of the top issues that we've had in this country for many.
Thank you, Ron DeSantis. That gets me excited. He literally called a press conference, calling session to make sure, you know what, we have a president that's trying to take care of this country, that's trying to make America safe again, and he's coming out and doing what he's doing. Love it. Absolutely love it. That's how you work in tandem. You have your top boss of the country, and then you have your individual state bosses. And Ron DeSantis, thank God you were doing what you were doing. Special credit to Ron DeSantis for doing that. And he should be put on a pedestal for what he's trying to do. You know what? He's doing his job. I mean, I shouldn't say he's doing something over the top special. He's doing what he should be doing. He's being brave enough to go out and do what needs to be done to help this country. We need more governors to do what Ron DeSantis is doing, because we guarantee you, as we showed you, Trump's doing everything he can to remove the deep state. But there are Democratic forces, Democratic policies that have put this country into a very bad situation. And they're not just going to roll over and say, okay. No, they're coming up with plans. We told you, Gavin Newsom, instead of being 100% worried about the fires and taking care of that, he's worried about putting money together, literally putting money together to fight Donald Trump's deportation of illegals in his state. That's what he's worried about. Where is all the attention should be 100% on what's happening with those damn fires. And now he's saying, well, people saying that I took water out of the fire hydrants, it's misrepresentation. That's wrong. That is wrong. And thank God Ron is doing what he's doing. We give a lot of credit to Ron DeSantis. Something else, I think, we see more and more people speaking out. More and more Democrats are becoming Republicans. More people are not afraid to speak up in public sectors, because it's about this country. It's not about people's feelings. It's about facts. And that's exactly what is happening right now with this country. What do you think the main purpose for Trump's rally on the 19th is? Okay, where are you going with that, Gary? I have no idea what you're talking about. Jeannie says it's all about priorities. Some of those people are pastors. How about California? You got to check this California pastor out. He brought it strong from the pulpit. And we've shown you black pastors all over America talking about Donald Trump. This is a pastor, interesting, talking about what liberal policies have done to this country, liberal policies in California. Very interesting when you have pastors bringing some of this stuff to the mix. Curious what your thoughts are, but listen to this pastor in California.
No excuses. This is the most wealthiest state in the 50. We pay the most in taxes. We pay the most in gas. We pay the most in electricity. You name it. If it's in California, we pay the most for it. Why? Why? Because of our government. Why? Because of things that Sacramento does because they can. Our flag of this state is an absolute abject lie. The flag says California Republic. It is not. A republic is where the people decide and the people have their way. What has happened to California? And you prove me wrong. I challenge you today, if you don't like what I'm about to say. California has been under unmitigated Democrat 100% power control. Democrat. Supermajority. What does that mean, supermajority? It means nobody can oppose their decision making. And now you've got it. You've got a situation where a catastrophe came and the billions of dollars that you and I gave was diverted to other woke, stupid, Democrat projects. That's not hyperbole. It is a fact. You don't like it, change your party. If you don't like it, change different. But I'm telling you right now, I'm upset and I'm angry, and it's the right kind of anger. I'm telling you this right now. When you open up a fire hydrant and nothing comes out, and then Joe Biden says, it's because we need electricity. It was turned off for the fire hydrant to turn on. In some cases, that might be true. If the fire hydrants are on top of a mountain, you need a motor to drive the water up. That's extremely rare, and it wasn't the case in these fires. Bad management, horrific politicians who took your money and took trips like Karen Bass, the mayor of LA. She decided to go to Africa the week of the fires to be on a little trip that you paid for. She was really put out when she was told to come home. It didn't look bad. I mean, it didn't look good, that it looked very bad. You've got Gavin Newsom flying down here and then at a command center laughing it up with some people, and it's caught on tape, while he spends 9 point so many millions of probably your dollars to buy himself a new house. It's time to replace the leadership in California. You don't need any more examples. These fires could have been stopped.
Yeah, they could have been. Thank God you have a pastor who is not afraid to speak truth, not opinion, but facts as part of his sermon in California because of some of those things that are going on. And Glenn from the chat line says, no, it's because of the citizens who vote for these clowns. The pastors in Sacramento, apparently. You get a little bit more north there. Obviously, Sacramento isn't Southern California, but there's a lot of liberals all over the place there too. But it's interesting because all where the fires are burning homes down and everything else, it's hardcore liberal, which is interesting. But thank God, I loved hearing that man talk with such conviction, because there's too many people in California that don't deserve what is happening. And if people are voting for Gavin Newsom and still have his back, well, then and your house went down, then you deserve what you got. And Paul says that poor guy will be unalive. No, I pray for his protection. I pray for his protection because he's willing to stand up and speak up about what is happening there. Trish says we need a change of leadership in Illinois. Look, it's another one of those blue bastion states, the inner city, the working of Chicago, the old boy network, the Barack Obamas. You know what's happened there. Hopefully, we've shown a lot of videos, by the way. I remember that with Joe. We've shown a lot of videos when it came out of Chicago. African Americans' lives turned upside down by illegals being given preferential treatment in a variety of ways. So you never know. Anything can change. I mean, at one point in time, California was a red state. Believe it or not, at one time he was. Paul says, if you haven't checked out Adam Carolla, yeah, I watched him last week. He's spot on because he's living in California his whole life, talking about what a difficult thing it is to live there and then go through all the bureaucracy and everything else is there. Cindy says, you have the same crap in St. Louis. Yeah, you do. And it's all because of the same types of leadership. It really is that simple. And what do all of these leaderships, what do all of these leaders have in common? They're Democrat with Democrat policies. It's so damn simple. We just want everybody to be damn happy. We want everybody living their best life. We want America to be great again. And just swallow your pride. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. It's sad. And that's what we try to focus here on Cancel This. And we're grateful for our advertisers and partners who partner with us, like Sentry, H2O.com. The Sentry water system, there's none like it. It's revolutionary. There's none like it in the world. Not only does it eliminate all the fluoride, the chlorine, 220 PFAs, those forever poisons, the heavy metal, like the chromium-6, the arsenic, the vaccines, all of that eliminate. Nobody else does that and puts oxygen in your water. Where oxygen is in the body, diseases can't exist, and puts magnesium and calcium in it as well. And it tastes great as well. The benefits are there. If you don't believe me, give it to your pets. Watch what your pets do. Your pets will go and drink that water and not water from a faucet. And of course, we know that drinking bottled water is not good for you. It's just not in the mini particles. Check out Sentry H2. You can literally put together, it's a 5-step cleaning system, 15 minutes to install under your sink, $300. A whole house system for all of your water, because when you take showers, that water's hard too. Your face is a sponge. It soaks it up. Your hair, that's a $3,000 system. $300. And then you don't have to deal with it for the entire year. No more water bottles, no more nothing. You get the best water. And the best part about it is it's not a luxury. This is a necessity. Once again, it's not a luxury. It's a necessity. So check out CentryH2O.com/discount/save sips. Once again, CentryH2O.com/discount/save sips. So many of our viewers and listeners have tried it out. If you do that, you'll get a discount. So use that code, not another one. Use that code. You will get a discount. And of course, we appreciate you checking that out. Also grateful for Winty's. Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley. I went to Winty's yesterday. Checked out Winty's. Megan and I stopped by there. Saw Ben, Marla, the crew. Tried some new food there. They're brand new. They have tater tots, Joe. They're not even on the menu. It's a special menu, and they're the best tater tots I've ever had. So make that about 10 or 11 of the best types of food you have. It's not just bar food. I was like, what do I call this? Because it's not just bar food. It's better. It's not like 5-star, but it's not bar food. It's so damn good. Check out Winty's in the Chesterfield Valley. Also, if you're grilling, there's one charcoal to grill with, and it's Rockwood. Rockwood charcoal. No other brand compares to it. You get it at Ace Hardware or get it online. Once you try it, you'll never try it another one, because when you take one of those little bricks, you squeeze it and it breaks apart in your hand. That's how you know it is all natural. You don't want the fillers that are put in all of these other brands, or many of the other brands. You try to break it and it won't break apart because it has fillers. Use charcoal. And when it comes to one of the best sandwich shops around, they're around the country, but check it out in St. Louis, Capriati's in Rock Hill. Capriati's open 12 hours every day. The best sandwiches start with the best ingredients: Wagyu beef and fresh roasted turkeys overnight, sliced and diced every morning for your eating pleasure. And if you don't believe me, talk to somebody else. Try it. These sandwiches are amazing. And then you want to check out what they have when it comes to their catering platter, because their catering platter is second to none. And it's that time of year. Trump's coming back in. A lot of talk about real estate changing. Get your plan in place. And when you get your plan in place, you do that with Megan Livingstone. 314-249-1708. 314-249-1708. Megan.livingstone@exprealty.com. People are starting to sell. I mean, she's working with a guy in the Chesterfield Valley right now. They're starting to sell. They're starting to look at options to do things. Give her a call, put your plan in place, and then, of course, you can go from there. And we are grateful, grateful, grateful for you guys. Any support you can give us, any donations, we are grateful. And thanks to those who have done it in the past. You go to canceltheshow.com. You click on the donate button. And if anybody has a national brand that wants to partner with us, a local brand, partner with us, just email me, vic@canceltheshow.com. We appreciate you guys jumping in. It is Inauguration Day in the state of Missouri, January 13th. We'll be back tomorrow morning, same time. We are grateful for you jumping in on cancelthisshow.com. So for Pro Joe and myself, Vic Faust, that does it for that fastest hour plus of news and politics podcasting. We will catch back up with you tomorrow. Have a great day. Are you looking to elevate your brand's presence? Partner with Cancel This Show with myself, Vic Faust, and my co-host,
Megan Marie. We're ranked in the top 10% globally.
Our show has reached over 1.68 million engaged listeners, and we continue to grow monthly.
Podcasting is one of the best ways to advertise
because it offers a highly engaged audience, SEO-targeted reach,
and the ability to build a personal connection with listeners.
Dive into the dynamic world of cancel culture, politics, all current events, and the latest news with us.
It's the American taxpayers that are having to pay for all of this monkey business left and right.
Look at all of these pictures. They are using AI to generate fake photos, and we show you them. And Joe will show, we got a video of one, we've got certain pictures.
They were hiding the fact and trying to lie to the American people for months that Joe Biden was doing well.
This is Kamala. This is Joe Biden. It's Barack Obama. It's Jake Sullivan, all together doing anything and everything they can to strike back at Donald Trump because he continues to kick their ass.
If that doesn't make you mad enough to vote one way or another in this election, nothing will do it.
Get your company's voice heard, your brand recognized,
and the exposure you deserve.
Does your brand align with our mission?
Let's talk and make an impact together.